Welcome to the presentation, The Role of PUD Number 1 in Watershed Management Planning. My name is Molly Crocker. I am a member of the Well Owners Caucus of Whatcom County. Most of us in Whatcom County have little to nothing to do with our local PUD, but who they serve and the powers voted to do it when it was formed could have a lot to do with the future of water planning in Whatcom County. What is a PUD? The history of public utility districts in Washington begins in 1930 with Washington Initiative Number 1. Private power utilities found it too expensive to run power to rural communities and farms, and so the Washington State Grange led the effort for rural communities and counties to be able to form a public utility district that could serve these customers. PUDs can purchase power from federal producers at lower prices than private companies. What does a PUD do? Our laws in Washington allow a PUD to supply power, water, sewer, and telecommunications. The telecommunications part came a little later than most of those other services. PUDs are to serve. They are to be not for profit. They are to be consumer owned, although it is more like owning stock in a company. You have the right to vote for the directors, the board of directors, but you really don't have much say about the day-to-day operations. Their services are supposed to be affordable. They are to conserve their resources so that they can continue to provide those resources. Their low rates should also be combined with high reliability. So, what is the picture of PUDs in Washington? They exist in 26 of 39 Washington counties. There are 28 PUDs in all. 24 of them provide power. 18 provide water or wastewater services. 14 provide access to broadband telecommunications. How are they regulated? PUDs are regulated by locally elected commissioners who have 6-year terms. They meet in open sessions. Those sessions are open to the public. Within those sessions, they set rates and they oversee operations. What about our local PUD? Whatcom PUD Number 1 was formed in 1937 by a vote of the Whatcom County people. It was meant to replace Puget Sound Power and Light, now known as Puget Sound Energy. For a variety of reasons, including the onset of World War II, that did not happen. In 1952, PUD 1 got its first customer in supplying power to the local oil refinery. In 1960s, it began to supply water to the aluminum refinery. It has the legal right to supply power and water. It would need an additional vote of Whatcom citizens to supply sewer and telecommunications. Our local PUD 1 can supply water and power anywhere in Whatcom except Blaine and Sumas because their municipal systems were in place before Whatcom PUD Number 1. Their mission statement says, and I quote, Public Utility District Number 1 of Whatcom County is a steward of water and energy resources, providing locally controlled utility services and resource protection for the benefit of the residents, businesses, and agricultural community of Greater Whatcom. So what does that entail? They own 2 water withdrawal stations on the Nooksack River near Ferndale and 20 miles of pipeline. They claim to have water rights to withdraw 53 million gallons of water per day from the Nooksack River. However, they deliver an average of 17 million gallons per day. This is actually twice what any other PUD in the state delivers. They also own a well water system to supply a business park north of Ferndale with potable water and fire suppression water. On the electricity side of things, they own 15 miles of power transmission and distribution lines and 3 substations. They annually deliver 27 megawatts of electricity. Right now, the PUD's activities including delivering Nooksack water to the refineries, Nooksack water to about 50 irrigation customers, well water to the business park on Grandview, electricity to the Phillips 66 refinery. It did serve water to Ferndale, the city of Ferndale, until 2011. So what happened in 2011? In 2011, Ferndale broke off its relationship with the PUD. On their website, they say the PUD has significant existing and future capital project costs. This required the PUD to raise city water rates and project future water rate increases. The city did not want to pass on the cost increases to water customers, so the city decided to develop its own groundwater sources. So much for low-cost utilities. Whatcom PUD has a strategic plan. Its strategic plan elements include to find ways to provide more power to industrial employers, to be a purveyor of last resort in Whatcom County, to determine the need for technical support to other providers, and to be the technical assistance program for providers of potable, irrigation, and other water needs, and to be able to monitor and forecast water resources in Whatcom County. What is the PUD's role in the planning unit? When the planning unit was formed by the legislation now known as RCW 90.82, the planning unit, it stated that the planning unit shall include the largest water purveyor of the WIRA. A WIRA, W-R-I-A, stands for Water Resource Inventory Area. WIRA 1 is the Nooksack River Basin. Bellingham delivers about 10 million gallons of water per day, and so that makes the PUD the largest purveyor of water. What are the PUD's activities outside the planning unit? The PUD number 1 is a member of the Watershed Management Board, whose other members are Whatcom County, the City of Bellingham, Small Cities Caucus, Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife, Lummi and Nooksack tribes. These groups signed non-disclosure agreements to discuss watershed management planning, policies, and practices behind closed doors. If there is a power struggle forming, then the Watershed Management Board could be the nest for that egg. These agencies have the right to form this board for discussion purposes, but the legislation is very clear in that the Watershed Management Plan shall be a product of the planning unit. Could the PUD become your purveyor of water or power? Well, the PUD strategic plan puts this as a last resort. Capital projects and infrastructure would be necessary, as the PUD's service area right now is only west and north of Ferndale. But remember what happened to the city of Ferndale. The PUD is supposed to serve. It is community formed to serve the community, to supply lowest cost, reliable utilities. All other goals should serve this need. We are happiest when the PUD does its job. Should it develop a taste for control, overreach, or projects outside of its purpose, such as salmon enhancement and stream restoration, then these projects would require an added cost to its customers, and its customers could go elsewhere. The 3 commissioners of PUD number 1 are voted upon by the population of Whatcom County every 6 years. Pay attention to these commissioners. The choice to allow the PUD to be your utility provider is up to you. If necessary, the PUD can be dissolved by a vote of the people. Thank you for listening to this presentation.